The massive alien ship cast a shadow over Geneva as it descended through the clouds. People in the streets below stopped and stared, some taking pictures, others running for cover. The ship was unlike anything humans had ever seen. It looked alive, with a surface that rippled like skin and glowed with soft blue light. Admiral Kate Morrison stood at the window of the United Earth Defense Council building, watching the alien vessel land in the courtyard. She had been expecting this day for months, ever since the first reports came in about the Zephyrian Empire gathering ships at the edge of human space. "They're here," she said to President Jack Sullivan, who stood beside her. "I know," Sullivan replied, his voice heavy with worry. "Are we ready for this?" Morrison looked at him with sad eyes. "As ready as we can be with 400 ships against 3,000. The alien ambassador walked through the main doors of the building 20 minutes later. High Commander Vexthal was tall, almost 8 feet, and his body was made of what looked like living crystal. Light moved through him in slow waves, and when he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes in a storm. "Leaders of humanity," Vexthal said as he entered the main meeting room, "I come with the final word of the Zephyrian Empire." The room was full of Earth's most important people. Military leaders, scientists, and politicians from every nation sat around a large table. Everyone was quiet as the alien took his place, at the head of the room. "Your species has committed crimes against the galaxy," Vexthal continued. "You have expanded into systems that belong to others. You have built colonies on worlds that are sacred to my people. Worst of all, you destroyed our mining station at Kepler 442 and killed 3,000 innocent Zephyrians." Admiral Morrison stood up. "That mining station was built on a world where human colonists lived. Your people attacked first." Vexthal's crystal body flashed bright red. "You dare to speak of defense? Your kind spreads like a virus through the stars, taking what you want without asking. The Empire has decided. You will surrender now, or you will be destroyed." "What does surrender mean?" President Sullivan asked. "All human military forces will be disbanded. Your colonies will be given to member species of the Empire. Earth will become a protected world, where humans may live but never leave. You have 48 hours to decide." The room erupted in angry voices. General Mike Carter slammed his fist on the table. "We'll never surrender to you." Dr. Linda Hayes, Earth's top expert on alien life, leaned forward. "Commander Vexthal, surely we can find a peaceful solution. Humans are willing to negotiate." The alien's laugh sounded like breaking glass. "There is nothing to negotiate. We have studied your species for years. You are violent and dangerous. The galaxy will be safer with you contained on one world." "And if we refuse?" Morrison asked. "Then, in 48 hours, our fleet will destroy every human settlement in space. Mars, Europa, Titan, all of them will be turned to ash. Then we will come for Earth itself." Vexthal turned and walked toward the door. "Do not think you can fight us. We have ships from 12 different species. Our technology is thousands of years ahead of yours. Your weapons cannot even scratch our bioships." After the alien left, the room fell silent. Everyone looked at President Sullivan, waiting for him to speak. "What are our real chances?" Sullivan asked Admiral Morrison. Morrison pulled up a holographic display showing the two fleets. The human ships looked tiny next to the alien vessels. "Honestly, sir, we might last 6 hours in a direct fight, maybe less." Dr. Hayes spoke up. "I've studied Zephyrian history. They've conquered 47 different species in the last century. None of them survived as anything more than slaves." Sullivan rubbed his tired eyes. "How long until we can evacuate the colonies?" "We started moving people 3 days ago when we detected their fleet," Morrison said. "But Mars alone has 2 million colonists. Europa has 500,000. We can't get them all out in time." General Carter looked angry. "So we just give up? Let these aliens tell us how to live?" "What choice do we have?" Sullivan asked. "If we fight, billions die. If we surrender, at least humanity survives." Morrison's phone buzzed with an encrypted message. She read it quickly and her face went white. "What is it?" Sullivan asked. I need to make a call," Morrison said. "It might be important." She stepped out of the room and dialed a secure number. The voice that answered made her heart skip a beat. "Hello, Kate? Ryan? Is that really you? You're supposed to be dead. I've been dead for 8 years officially, but some of us have been very busy during that time. What are you talking about? Meet me at Cheyenne Deep in 2 hours. Come alone. Tell no one where you're going." The line went dead. Morrison stared at her phone. Ryan Blake had been her best friend in the military, and one of Earth's finest officers. His ship had been destroyed during the Proxima Centauri mission, and everyone believed he had died with it. Back in the meeting room, President Sullivan was addressing the world on live television. "My fellow humans," he said, looking directly into the camera. "Today we face the greatest challenge in our history. An alien empire has given us 2 days to surrender or face total destruction. I want you to know that your leaders are working on every possible solution. We will not make this decision lightly." All across Earth, people watched their president with fear and hope. In the colonies, families hugged each other as evacuation ships took off every few minutes. On Mars, children asked their parents why they had to leave their homes. In orbit around Jupiter, Captain Lisa Stone sat in the command chair of a ship that didn't officially exist. The vessel was called Silent Thunder, and it was invisible to both human and alien sensors. She watched as Zephyrian scout ships moved closer to the inner solar system. "They think they know everything about us," she said to her crew. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." Meanwhile, in a secret facility buried deep in the mountains, machines that had been building and waiting for years began to wake up. Lights flickered on in massive underground hangars. Computer systems that had been hidden from the world started running final checks on weapons that shouldn't exist. The aliens had given humanity 48 hours to surrender. They had no idea that some humans had been preparing for this war for much longer than that. The Shadow Fleet was ready to show the galaxy what happened when someone threatened Earth. High Commander Vexithal stood on the bridge of his massive ship, looking at the small blue world below. Soon, he thought, the humans would kneel before the Empire like all the others. He had conquered so many species that he had stopped counting. Humans would be just another name on his list of victories. He was very, very wrong. Admiral Kate Morrison drove through the Colorado mountains in the middle of the night. Her car's GPS showed nothing but empty road, but she knew exactly where she was going. The hidden entrance to Cheyenne Deep was buried so far underground that most people in the military didn't even know it existed. She parked at what looked like an abandoned gas station and walked to a rusted door marked Employees Only. When she placed her hand on the scanner, it beeped once and clicked open. Behind the door was an elevator that went down for what felt like forever. When the doors opened, Kate found herself face to face with a man she thought she would never see again. "Hello, Kate," Ryan Blake said with a smile. "Thanks for coming." Kate wanted to hug him, but she was too angry. "You let me think you were dead for 8 years. Do you have any idea what that did to me? To your family?" "I know," Ryan said, his smile fading. "And I'm sorry. But what we've been doing here was too important to risk. If anyone had known I was alive, they might have found this place." "What is this place?" Kate asked, looking around at the metal walls and bright lights. "Project Nightfall," Ryan said. "Come on, I'll show you." He led her down a long corridor lined with doors marked with numbers and letters that meant nothing. To her, the air smelled like metal and electricity. They walked for 10 minutes before reaching a massive security door. "Before we go in," Ryan said, stopping at the door, "I need you to understand something. What you're about to see has been classified above your level for 8 years. Only 12 people in the world know about it. Just open the door, Ryan." The door slid open with a soft hiss, and Kate stepped into the largest room she had ever seen. The ceiling was so high she couldn't see it in the darkness above, but what made her gasp were the ships. Hundreds of them floated in the air, held by some kind of invisible force. They were sleek and black, shaped like triangles with curved edges. Light seemed to bend around them, making them hard to look at directly. "My God," Kate whispered. "How long have you been building these?" 15 years, said a voice behind her. Kate turned to see a woman in a black uniform walking toward them. "I'm Captain Lisa Stone, commander of the Shadow Fleet. Shadow Fleet? Kate asked. 200 ships, Lisa said. Each one more advanced than anything in Earth's official navy. They can phase in and out of normal space, making them invisible to sensors. They're faster than anything the aliens have, and their weapons can cut through Zephyrian bioarmor like it's paper. Kate looked around the hangar in amazement. How is this possible? Where did the technology come from? Ryan walked over to a display screen on the wall. Remember the Roswell crash in 1947? The government said it was a weather balloon. They lied. It was an alien scout ship. Since then, we've recovered 17 more crashed vessels from different species. The screen showed pictures of strange metals, glowing crystals, and devices that looked like they came from science fiction movies. We've been reverse engineering alien technology for decades, Ryan continued. But we kept it secret because we knew that one day someone would come to take it away from us. Captain Stone walked over to one of the black ships. This is Silent. Thunder, my personal command vessel. Want to see inside? The three of them climbed up a ramp that appeared from nowhere. Inside, the ship was full of controls and displays that Kate had never seen before. Everything was smooth and curved, with soft blue lights everywhere. The ships are controlled by thought as much as by hand, Lisa explained. The pilot wears a neural link that connects directly to the ship's computer. It's like the ship becomes part of your body. How many people know how to fly these? Kate asked. 400 pilots, Ryan said. All of them officially dead or missing. We recruited them from special forces units around the world, the best of the best. Kate sat down in one of the chairs and tried to process what she was seeing. Why are you showing me this now? Because in 24 hours the Zephyrians are going to attack, Lisa said. And we need someone to coordinate between the Shadow Fleet and Earth's regular forces. Ryan pulled up another display. We've been watching the Zephyrian Empire for years using deep space probes they can't detect. We know everything about their ships, their weapons, their tactics. The screen showed detailed scans of the alien vessels. Their bioships are grown, not built, Ryan explained. They're alive, which makes them self-healing and adaptive, but it also makes them predictable. How? Do you mean? Kate asked. Living things follow patterns, Lisa said. They have to eat, they have to rest, they have weak spots. We've been studying Zephyrian biology from tissue samples we recovered from their destroyed mining station. Kate looked at them both. You're talking about fighting them. The president is trying to find a way to surrender without getting everyone killed. Kate, Ryan said seriously, the Zephyrians don't take prisoners. Every species they've conquered has been turned into slaves or killed. Surrender isn't an option. He showed her historical records from other worlds the Empire had attacked. The Altarians surrendered after one day of fighting. The Empire kept their promise not to destroy their cities. Instead, they used a virus to turn the entire population into mindless workers. The Altarians are still alive, but they're not Altarians anymore. Kate felt sick looking at the images. So what's your plan? Captain Stone activated a holographic display showing the solar system. The Zephyrian fleet will advance on Earth in a standard formation. Your regular forces will engage them near Jupiter, drawing their attention. You want us to be bait, Kate said. You'll be heroes, Lisa corrected. While they're focused on your ships, the Shadow Fleet will attack from all directions at once. Our phase drive technology lets us appear anywhere instantly. Ryan pointed to the largest alien ship on the display. This is their command vessel, the World Eater. It's 3 miles long and carries their planet-killer weapon. If we can destroy it, their fleet will fall apart. And if you can't? Kate asked. Then Earth dies, Lisa said simply. But that was going to happen anyway if we surrendered. Kate stood up and walked around the ship's bridge. Everything about it felt alien and advanced. How do I know this will work? You don't, Ryan admitted. But I can tell you this. We've run thousands of computer simulations of the battle. In 93% of them, we win. What about the other 7%? In those simulations, we all die fighting instead of living as slaves. Kate was quiet for a long time, thinking about what she had learned. Finally, she looked at her old friends. What do you need me to do? Convince President Sullivan to let us try, Ryan said. The regular fleet needs to follow specific battle plans to give us the best chance, and the timing has to be perfect. He'll never believe this, Kate said. Secret fleets, hidden technology, alien artifacts, it sounds crazy, Lisa smiled. Then maybe it's time to show him some proof. She led Kate to another part of the hangar where scientists in white coats were working on strange devices. Dr. Alex Turner, she called to one of them. Show Admiral Morrison the quantum communicator. Dr. Turner held up a small device that looked like a crystal wrapped in metal wires. This allows instant communication across any distance, he said. No delay, no interference. We built it using technology from a crashed Zephyrian scout ship. He activated the device and handed it to Kate. Go ahead, call someone. Kate dialed President Sullivan's secure phone. He answered immediately. Kate? Where are you? It's 3 a.m. Sir, I'm about to show you something that will change everything. Can you meet me at Andrews Air Force Base in 2 hours? What's going on? Just trust me, sir. And bring General Carter and Dr. Hayes. Kate hung up and handed the device back to Dr. Turner. That call just traveled through subspace, he explained. The aliens use this technology, but they think we're too primitive to understand it. They're about to learn how wrong they are, Lisa said. As they prepared to leave the facility, Ryan grabbed Kate's arm. There's something else you need to know. This isn't just about saving Earth. If we win this battle, humanity goes from being a small planet to being a major power in the galaxy. We'll have their technology, their star charts, their secrets, and if we lose, then none of it matters. Kate looked one more time at the hundreds of black ships floating in the darkness. Somewhere above them, alien vessels were moving closer to Earth, confident in their victory. They had no idea what was waiting for them in the shadows. Let's go change history, she said. President Jack Sullivan stood in the White House Situation Room, staring at the wall of screens showing the approaching alien fleet. The Zephyrian ships looked like giant sea creatures swimming through space, their bioluminescent hulls pulsing with threatening colors. 47 hours and 36 minutes, General Mike Carter said, reading from his watch. They're early. Of course they are, Admiral Kate Morrison replied. They want to catch us off guard. The room was full of Earth's top military leaders, all watching as 3,000 alien vessels crossed into the outer solar system. The human defense fleet looked tiny in comparison, just 400 ships spread out near Jupiter's moons. All civilian evacuation ships have reached minimum safe distance, reported Colonel Amy Price. Mars colony is at 60% evacuation. Europa and Titan are at 80%. Sullivan felt the weight of every human life on his shoulders. What about Earth? Deep bunkers are at maximum capacity, Price said. But if they use planet-killer weapons like our intelligence suggests, the bunkers won't matter. On the main screen, High Commander Vexthal appeared from his flagship, the massive World Eater. The alien's crystal body was glowing bright red with anger. Humans, his voice echoed through the communication system. Your time has ended. We offered you mercy, and you chose defiance. Now you will face the consequences. President Sullivan stepped forward. Commander Vexthal, I speak for all humanity when I say we will never surrender our freedom. If you want Earth, you'll have to take it. The alien's laugh sounded like grinding glass. So be it. Today, the galaxy learns what happens to species that resist the Empire. The transmission ended, and immediately the Zephyrian fleet began moving toward the inner planets. Their formation was perfect, a massive wall of bioships that stretched across millions of miles. Admiral Morrison activated her communicator. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison. Operation Last Stand is now active. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for the right of humanity to exist among the stars. In space near Jupiter, Captain Dan Mitchell watched from the bridge of the USS Defiance as the alien fleet approached. His ship was one of Earth's newest, but it still felt like a toy compared to the creatures swimming toward them. Enemy ships entering weapons range in 5 minutes, his weapons officer reported. All hands, this is the captain, Mitchell announced over the ship's intercom. Today we make history. Today we show the galaxy that humanity doesn't know how to quit. The first shots came from the Zephyrian vanguard. Bolts of plasma energy crossed the void, striking the human formation. The USS Liberty exploded in a ball of fire, taking all hands with it. Return fire, Morrison ordered from her flagship, the USS Independence. Human missiles streaked toward the alien ships, but most of them were absorbed by the biovessel's adaptive armor. The few that got through barely scratched the surface. Their hull regenerates, reported Dr. Linda Hayes from the science station. The ships are literally healing themselves. More plasma bolts struck the human fleet. The USS Defiance took a direct hit to its engine section and began spinning out of control. Captain Mitchell's last transmission was cut short as his ship was vaporized. "We can't hold them," General Carter said, watching the battle from Earth. "We're losing ships too." "Fest." Admiral Morrison's voice came through the communicator's calm despite the chaos around her. "All ships begin fighting withdrawal toward Mars. Make them work for every mile." What the Zephyrians didn't know was that the human retreat was exactly what the Shadow Fleet had been waiting for. Deep in space, invisible to all sensors, Captain Lisa Stone watched the battle unfold from her command ship. "Phase drives are fully charged," her pilot reported. "All ships report ready for combat. Remember," Stone said to her crew, "we get one chance at this. If we fail, Earth falls." She opened a communication channel to all Shadow Fleet vessels. 200 ships received her transmission simultaneously through quantum communicators that couldn't be intercepted. "Shadow Fleet, this is Stone. Today we reveal humanity's true strength. Today we show these aliens that they picked the wrong species to threaten." Aboard the World Eater, High Commander Vexthal watched the human ships retreating with satisfaction. "Pathetic," he said to his officers. "Their weapons can barely penetrate our outer armor. This will be over within the hour." His tactical officer, a creature that looked like a walking tree, pointed at the display. "Commander, should we activate the planet killer?" "Not yet," Vexthal replied. "I want to savor this victory. Let them fight a little longer before we end their civilization." The Zephyrian fleet continued its advance, confident and organized. Their bioships moved in perfect formation, their weapons charging for the final assault on the inner planets. That's when everything changed. Captain Sarah. Ward sat in the pilot seat of Ghost Rider, the Shadow Fleet's most advanced scout ship. She had been waiting in the empty space between Jupiter's moons for 3 hours, completely invisible to the alien sensors. "All units, this is Ghost Rider," she transmitted. "Enemy command ship is in optimal position. Beginning phase shift approach." Around the solar system, 200 black ships began to shimmer and fade from normal space. They slipped into a dimension that existed between reality and imagination, where the rules of physics worked differently. Dr. Alex Turner monitored the phase drives from his laboratory ship. "Phase shift holding steady across all vessels," he reported. "Quantum entanglement communicators are maintaining perfect synchronization." The Zephyrians had no idea what was about to happen. Their sensors showed only empty space around their fleet. Their bioships continued their steady advance, growing more confident with each passing minute. Admiral Morrison's regular fleet continued its fighting retreat, taking heavy losses but buying precious time. The USS Independence shuddered under another plasma hit, and Morrison felt the deck plates buckle beneath her feet. "Hull breach on deck 7 through 9, someone reported. "Emergency bulkheads are holding." Morrison looked at the tactical display showing the alien fleet's position. Everything was exactly where it needed to be. She activated her quantum communicator. "Shadow Fleet, this is Morrison. Execute Operation Nightfall." High Commander Vexthal was examining reports from his fleet commanders when his bioship's neural network suddenly screamed in alarm. Every sensor on the World Eater began flashing warning signals at once. "What's happening?" he demanded. "Unknown energy signatures appearing throughout the fleet," his tactical officer reported. "I've never seen anything like this." "Impossible," Vexthal said. "Our sensors detect everything. There's nothing there." That's when the first Shadow Fleet ship phased back into normal space, appearing directly inside the formation of Zephyrian vessels. Silent Thunder materialized next to a massive biocruiser and opened fire with weapons that shouldn't exist. The exotic energy beams cut through the alien ship's hull like it was made of paper. The biocruiser's adaptive armor had no defense against attacks that came from outside normal spacetime. All across the Zephyrian fleet, black ships appeared from nowhere. They struck from impossible angles, their weapons tearing through bioarmor that had never been penetrated before. "We're under attack," Vextal's officers reported. "Ships appearing everywhere. Our formation is collapsing." Captain Stone smiled as Silent Thunder dove through the alien formation, her exotic weapons leaving destruction in their wake. "All units, target their support vessels first. Make them blind and deaf before we go for the command ship." The Shadow Fleet moved like ghosts through the enemy formation. They appeared, struck, and vanished again before the aliens could respond. Their phase drive technology made them impossible to target with conventional weapons. Lieutenant Pete Davis piloted his ship, Dark Angel, directly through the hull of an alien carrier. The phase drive let him become partially non-solid, allowing him to attack from inside the enemy vessel. His weapons overloaded the bioship's neural network, causing it to turn on its own fleet. High Commander Vexthal watched in horror as his perfect formation fell apart. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were being destroyed by vessels that appeared and disappeared like magic. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Humans don't have this technology." His science officer, a creature with multiple heads, spoke in a terrified voice. "Commander, they're using trans-dimensional weapons. The humans have mastered space-time manipulation." For the first time in his long career of conquest, Vexithal felt fear. The species he had thought was primitive and helpless was demonstrating technology that even the Empire didn't fully understand. "All ships, emergency tactical formation," he ordered. "Activate all defensive systems." But it was too late. The Shadow Fleet had already broken the Zephyrian formation. Their surprise attack had turned the battle from a one-sided slaughter into a fair fight. And when the fight was fair, humans had a way of winning. The space around Jupiter erupted into chaos as the Shadow Fleet tore through the Zephyrian formation. Captain Lisa Stone pushed Silent Thunder through a series of impossible maneuvers, her neural link making the ship respond like part of her own body. "Target the biocarriers," she ordered her weapons officer. "Cut off their fighter support." Exotic energy beams lanced out from Silent Thunder, striking a Zephyrian carrier that was 3 times larger than any human ship. The alien vessel's living hull tried to adapt to the attack, but the trans-dimensional weapons worked on principles the bioship couldn't understand. The carrier began to die, its bioluminescent pattern shifting from threatening red to panicked white. Smaller fighter organisms that lived inside the ship poured out like angry bees, but they had no targets to attack. The Shadow Fleet ships kept phasing in and out of normal space, impossible to track or target. Commander Pete Davis led Squadron Beta in a coordinated strike against the alien support vessels. His ship, Dark Angel, appeared directly underneath a massive Zephyrian supply ship. "Remember, these things are alive," he told his crew. "Hit them in the nerve centers." Dark Angel's weapons targeted specific points on the bioship's hull where intelligence reports said the neural networks were located. The alien vessel convulsed like a wounded animal as its brain systems were destroyed. Across the battlefield, the same scene played out dozens of times. Human ships appeared from nowhere, struck with impossible precision, and vanished before the aliens could respond. High Commander Vexthal stood on the bridge of the World Eater, watching his perfect fleet fall apart. Ship after ship was going, dark on his tactical display. Some were destroyed, others were simply floating dead in space, their neural networks fried by human weapons. "Status report," he demanded. "We've lost 40% of our support vessels," his tactical officer reported. "The enemy ships are using some kind of phase technology. Our sensors can't track them when they're not in normal space." "What about casualties?" "Unknown. The human ships appear to be targeting our vessels' nervous systems. The crews are alive, but the ships themselves are brain-dead." Vexthal's crystal body flashed angry red. In 300 years of conquest, no species had ever fought back like this. The humans were supposed to be primitive, limited to simple chemical rockets and nuclear weapons. Instead, they were demonstrating technology that challenged the Empire's understanding of physics. "Activate the planet killer weapon," he ordered. "If we cannot defeat them in battle, we'll destroy their world directly." Deep in the World Eater's core, a massive bioorganism began to wake up. It had been bred specifically to consume worlds, turning all organic matter into energy that the Empire could harvest. The creature stretched its tendrils toward Earth, hungry for the feast that awaited it. But Captain Sarah Ward had other plans. Her scout ship Ghost Rider had been moving through the alien fleet for the past hour, completely undetected. She had planted quantum resonance bombs inside 12 different carriers, and now it was time to use them. "All bombs are in position," she reported to Captain Stone. "Ready to activate on your command." "Do it," Stone replied. The quantum resonance bombs didn't explode like normal weapons. Instead, they created waves of energy that resonated with the specific frequency of Zephyrian bioships. The alien vessels began to vibrate themselves apart at the molecular level. 12 massive carriers suddenly collapsed inward, their living hulls unable to maintain structural integrity as their own atoms turned against them. The explosions sent shockwaves through the alien formation, causing panic among the surviving ships. "Impossible!" Bexthal screamed. "How do they know our bioresonance frequencies?" His science officers' multiple heads turned toward him with expressions of fear. "Commander, they've been studying us. This level of knowledge would require years of research into our technology." The truth was beginning to dawn on Bexthal. The humans hadn't been caught by surprise at all. They had been preparing for this battle for years, maybe decades. Every piece of Zephyrian technology that had fallen into their hands had been studied, analyzed, and turned into a weapon. Captain Stone saw her opening. The World Eater was isolated now, most of its support ships either destroyed or disabled. She opened a channel to all Shadow Fleet vessels. "All units, this is Stone. Primary target is now exposed. Execute Plan Omega." Plan Omega was the most dangerous part of their strategy. It required the Shadow Fleet's most advanced ships to phase directly into the World Eater's hull and attack it from the inside. "You heard the captain?" Lieutenant Tom Baker said to his crew aboard the ship Nightstrike. "Let's go kill a dragon." 6 of the Shadow Fleet's most advanced vessels began their approach to the World Eater. The massive bioship was over 3 miles long, its hull covered with defensive organisms that could destroy normal missiles and energy beams. But the Shadow Fleet ships weren't normal. Nightstrike phased through the outer hull like it was made of fog. Inside the alien ship, Baker found himself in a vast organic chamber filled with pulsing arteries and glowing neural networks. "It's like being inside a whale," his co-pilot whispered. "A whale that's trying to destroy Earth," Baker replied. "Light it up." Nightstrike's weapons began firing at point-blank range into the World Eater's vital systems. The bioship's immune system responded immediately, sending defensive organisms to attack the intruder, but the human ship kept phasing in and out of solid matter. The other 5 ships were having similar success throughout the World Eater. They appeared in crucial areas, the power core, the weapons systems, the neural command centers, and began systematically destroying them. "Hi, Commander." Bexthal felt his flagship dying around him. The floor plates were vibrating, and the lights were flickering as the ship's biological systems began to fail. "Hull breaches throughout the ship," his officers reported. "Internal defense systems are not responding. The enemy vessels are inside our ship." "That's impossible," Bexthal said. "Nothing can phase through our bioarmor." But even as he spoke, he could see human ships appearing and disappearing throughout his command center. They were like ghosts, there one moment and gone the next, leaving destruction in their wake. Dr. Alex Turner watched the battle from his laboratory ship, monitoring the quantum signatures of all the Shadow Fleet vessels. The phase drives were working perfectly, allowing the human ships to exist partially outside normal space-time. "Captain Stone," he reported, "the World Eater's planet killer weapon is charging. They're preparing to fire on Earth." "How long do we have?" "Maybe 10 minutes before it's fully powered." Stone made a decision that would either save humanity or doom it. "All ships concentrate fire on the World Eater's core. We're going to kill this thing before it can hurt Earth." The Shadow Fleet abandoned their hit-and-run tactics and began a coordinated assault on the alien flagship. Every exotic weapon they had was turned against the massive bioship. The World Eater began to scream. It was a sound that came through space itself, transmitted by the ship's bio-neural network. The creature that had been bred to destroy worlds was feeling pain for the first time in its existence. Deep in the ship's core, the planet-killer weapon was still charging, its hungry tendrils reaching toward Earth. But the Shadow Fleet ships were cutting through the bioconduits that fed it power. Lieutenant Sarah Ward piloted Ghost Rider directly into the weapon's chamber. It was like flying into the mouth of a living nightmare, walls of flesh covered with teeth, arteries pumping glowing blood, and in the center, the planet killer itself. The creature looked at her ship with eyes the size of buildings. It was ancient, older than human civilization, and it had eaten dozens of worlds, but it had never faced anything like the weapon Sarah carried. For Earth, she whispered, and fired every exotic weapon Ghost Rider possessed. The planet killer weapon died in an explosion of bioenergy that tore through half the World Eater. The massive ship began to collapse as its primary purpose was destroyed. High Commander Vexthal watched his perfect conquest fleet falling apart. The humans had not only survived his attack, they were winning. Ships that he had thought were invincible were being destroyed by a species he had dismissed as primitive. All remaining vessels, retreat to hyperspace, he ordered. We'll regroup and return with reinforcements. But Captain Stone had one more surprise for him. Shadow Fleet, she transmitted, activate the quantum jammers. Don't let any of them escape. Throughout the battlefield, human ships began broadcasting waves of quantum interference. The Zephyrian bioships, which relied on organic hyperspace organs to escape, found themselves unable to make the jump to faster-than-light speed. They were trapped in the solar system with an enemy that had just proven it could destroy anything they threw at it. The Battle of Sol was about to become a massacre, but this time, the aliens were going to be on the receiving end. The dying World Eater drifted through space like a wounded beast, its bioluminescent hull flickering between colors of pain and defeat. High Commander Vexthal clung to his command chair as his flagship shuddered around him, internal systems failing one by one. Damage report, he gasped, his crystal body dim with shock. Primary weapons offline, his tactical officer reported. Life support failing on 17 decks. The planet killer weapon is completely destroyed. Around the massive ship, the remains of the once mighty Zephyrian fleet floated in ruins. Of the 3,000 vessels that had entered the solar system, with such confidence, fewer than 800 remained functional. The rest were either destroyed or floating dead in space, their neural networks fried by human weapons. Captain Lisa Stone brought Silent Thunder alongside the World Eater's command section. The alien ship was so large that her vessel looked like a tiny insect next to a dying whale. High Commander Vexthal, she transmitted on all frequencies. This is Captain Stone of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now and your surviving crew will be treated according to galactic warfare conventions. Vexthal's laugh was weak and bitter. You think this is over, human? The Empire has thousands of ships. This was just one battle fleet. Actually, came a new voice over the communication system. You might want to reconsider that assumption. Admiral Kate Morrison's face appeared on the main screen, but she wasn't speaking from her damaged flagship. She was in a place Vexthal didn't recognize. A control room filled with advanced technology that looked both human and alien. Let me introduce myself properly, Morrison said. I'm Admiral Morrison, but more importantly, I'm the liaison between Earth's official fleet and our real military force. Behind her, Vexthal could see displays showing star maps, technical specifications, and what looked like surveillance footage from dozens of different worlds. For the past 20 years, Morrison continued, humanity has known about the Zephyrian Empire. We've been watching you, studying you, preparing for the day you would come for Earth. Colonel Ryan Blake stepped into view beside Morrison. Vexthal's eyes widened in recognition. Impossible, the alien whispered. You died 8 years ago in the Proxima Centauri system. I was supposed to die, Blake replied in perfect Zephyrian dialect. But my ship's destruction was staged. I've been living in your empire for the past 8 years gathering intelligence. Blake activated a holographic display, showing detailed schematics of Zephyrian bioships. Every weakness, every vulnerability, every secret of your technology, we know it all. Vexthal felt something he had never experienced before. True fear. You've been spying on us for years. Not just spying, Blake said. We've had agents embedded throughout your empire. Modified humans who can pass as members of lesser species in your coalition. They've been sending us information, technology samples, and strategic data. The display changed to show surveillance footage from Zephyrian military facilities, research stations, and even the Empire's capital world. Human agents, surgically altered to look like various alien species, could be seen working alongside unsuspecting Zephyrians. This is impossible, Vexthal said. Our security systems would detect human infiltrators. Dr. Alex Turner's face appeared on another screen. Not when those humans have been genetically modified to match the biological signatures of the species they're impersonating. We've had people working in your weapons development labs, your shipyards, even your military command centers. Turner held up a small device that glowed with soft blue light. This contains complete technical specifications for every ship class in your fleet, including the World Eater. We've known about your planet killer weapon for 3 years. That's why we developed specific countermeasures. Vexthal's tactical officer approached him with shaking limbs. Commander, we're receiving reports from across the Empire. Human ships are appearing at 12 different core worlds simultaneously. What? Vexthal demanded. The main display changed to show real-time feeds from throughout Zephyrian space. At world after world, black human ships were appearing out of phase space, striking key military installations with surgical precision. Meet the rest of the Shadow Fleet, Captain Stone said. What you fought here was just one task force. We have over 2,000 ships positioned throughout your empire. Blake stepped forward again. Every major Zephyrian world has human weapons already in place. Not ships, weapons platforms that we've been secretly installing for years. If you don't surrender immediately, we'll activate them. You're bluffing, Vexthal said, but his voice lacked conviction. Am I? Blake asked. He pressed a control on his console. Watch your homeworld. The display showed Zephyria Prime, the heart of the Empire. The planet's surface was covered with massive biocities that housed billions of aliens. But as they watched, small explosions began appearing across the planet's surface. Those aren't weapons, Blake explained calmly. Those are demonstration charges. We wanted to prove that our people are in position. Every one of those explosions could have been a city killer bomb. Vexthal stared at the screen in horror. How long have you been planning this? 23 years, Admiral Morrison said. Ever since we recovered our first crashed Zephyrian scout ship. We knew that eventually you would come for us. So we prepared. Dr. Turner activated another display showing the evolution of human technology over the past 2 decades. Every crashed ship, every captured piece of equipment, every scrap of alien technology we could find, we studied it all. Then we improved on it. The screens showed human scientists working on exotic technologies that looked more advanced than anything in the Zephyrian fleet. Your phase drive technology was impressive, Turner continued. But our version is better. Your bioships are remarkable, but our synthetic vessels are more adaptable. You gave us the foundation, and we built something superior. Captain Stone brought Silent Thunder closer to the World Eater's bridge. High Commander, you have a choice. Surrender your remaining forces and we'll negotiate the terms of the Empire's future. Continue fighting, and we'll activate every weapon we have hidden throughout your territory. What would happen to my people? Vexthal asked quietly. That depends on you, Morrison replied. The Zephyrian Empire has enslaved 47 different species. If you cooperate with us, we can discuss liberation and rehabilitation programs. If you fight, then you'll learn what it feels like to be on the receiving end of conquest. Blake pulled up a list of worlds that had been conquered by the Empire. Every species you've enslaved has been contacted by our agents. They know that humanity is fighting the Empire. Some of them are already in open rebellion. The tactical officer approached Vexthal again. Commander, we're receiving surrender requests from 18 different battle groups. Our field commanders are asking for instructions. Vexthal looked around his dying flagship. The walls were covered with bio-neural networks that had gone dark, and the air smelled of failing life support systems. His perfect conquest fleet was in ruins, destroyed by a species he had thought was primitive. How? He asked quietly. How did we not see this coming? Because you believed your own propaganda, Blake said. You convinced yourselves that humans were just another primitive species. You never considered that we might be as intelligent and determined as you are. Captain Stone's voice softened slightly. Commander, your empire has lasted for centuries by conquering weaker species, but you made a mistake when you came for Earth. You attacked the one species in the galaxy that never learned how to give up. Vexthal was quiet for a long time, staring at the displays showing human ships throughout his empire. Finally, he activated his communicator. All Zephyrian forces, this is High Commander Vexthal. Cease all hostile actions immediately. I am ordering a general surrender. The response was immediate. Across the solar system, alien bioships began powering down their weapons and broadcasting surrender signals. The Battle of Sol was over. But as Admiral Morrison looked at the defeated alien fleet, she knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself to be a major galactic power, and the other species in the galaxy were watching to see what Earth would do with its newfound strength. Captain Stone, Morrison said, prepare the fleet for deep space operations. We have an empire to restructure. On his dying flagship, High Commander Vexthal began writing what would become the most important document in galactic history, a complete record of how the Zephyrian Empire had fallen to a species they had underestimated. His first words were, they expected us to win easily. We expected them to surrender quickly. We were both wrong about what humanity was capable of. 3 months after the Battle of Sol, Admiral Kate Morrison stood on the observation deck of what had once been the World Eater. The massive bioship had been completely transformed, its living walls now glowing with soft blue light instead of threatening red. Human engineers had spent weeks learning to work with the ship's biological systems, turning humanity's greatest enemy into their most powerful ally. The ship had been renamed New Dawn, and it now served as the flagship of Earth's deep space fleet. From its bridge, Morrison could coordinate operations across dozens of star systems. Status report, she said to Captain Lisa Stone, who had been promoted to admiral after the battle. The last Zephyrian holdout forces surrendered yesterday, Stone replied. The Altair system is now under human protection. That makes 43 liberated worlds in the past month. Morrison nodded, looking out at the fleet of ships surrounding New Dawn. Human vessels worked alongside former Zephyrian bioships, their crews learning to operate technology that had once seemed impossible. But more importantly, ships from dozens of other species had joined them. What about the Canthari delegation? Morrison asked. They arrive tomorrow, Stone said. That will make 51 species that have requested to join the Human Alliance. The Human Alliance, Morrison still found it hard to believe. 3 months ago, humanity had been a small civilization limited to one star system. Now they were leading a coalition that spanned half the galaxy. President Jack Sullivan's face appeared on the main communication screen. He was calling from the new United Nations building in Geneva, which had been expanded to accommodate representatives from dozens of alien species. Kate, he said with a smile, how are things going out there? Better than we hoped, Morrison replied. The former Zephyrian colonies are adapting well to self-government. Most of them just wanted to be free to make their own choices. What about the Zephyrians themselves? Morrison glanced at a nearby display showing rehabilitation centers on 12 different worlds. About half of them have accepted the new government. They're working with our people to help liberate the remaining enslaved species. The other half are in secure facilities where they're learning to live without conquest. It had been a difficult decision. After centuries of enslaving other species, many Zephyrians didn't know how to exist peacefully. But humanity had chosen rehabilitation over revenge, believing that even former enemies could change. High Commander Vexthal sends his regards, Morrison added. His memoir is almost finished. He thinks it might prevent other species from making the same mistakes the Empire did. Sullivan laughed. Who would have thought our greatest enemy would become one of our most valuable advisors? The communication was interrupted by an alert from the ship's sensors. Dr. Alex Turner's voice came over the intercom. Admiral Morrison, please report to the laboratory. We're receiving a transmission from outside the galaxy. Morrison and Stone hurried to Turner's lab, which had been expanded to fill an entire deck of the massive ship. The space was filled with technology that combined human engineering with alien science, creating devices that neither species could have built alone. What kind of transmission? Morrison asked. Turner showed them a display covered with complex wave patterns. It's coming from the Andromeda galaxy, approximately 2.5 million light-years away. The signal is using quantum entanglement protocols that we've never seen before. Can you decode it? Already working on it, Turner said. But Kate, this technology is more advanced than anything we've encountered. Whoever sent this makes the Zephyrian Empire look primitive. Stone frowned. Is it a threat? I don't think so, Turner replied. The signal structure suggests it's some kind of greeting or introduction. Give me a few more hours and I should be able to translate it. Morrison felt a familiar mix of excitement and concern. Humanity had just finished dealing with one alien empire, and now something even more advanced was making contact. Keep working on it, she said, and alert General Blake. If this is first contact with a new species, we want to be prepared. General Ryan Blake had been promoted after his years of undercover work in Zephyrian space. He now headed the Galactic Defense Initiative, humanity's new military organization that combined the Shadow Fleet with volunteers from allied species. Morrison found him in the Tactical Center, working with a mixed crew of humans and former Zephyrians on war games. The exercises weren't preparation for conquest. They were defensive simulations designed to protect the Alliance's member worlds. Ryan, she said, we may have a new situation developing. Blake listened as she explained about the transmission from Andromeda. His expression grew more serious as she talked. How much do we know about intergalactic civilizations? He asked. Almost nothing, Morrison admitted. But if they have the technology to communicate across 2.5 million light-years of space, they're probably more advanced than we are, or they were more advanced, Blake said thoughtfully. That signal took 2.5 million years to reach us. Whoever sent it might not even exist anymore. Before Morrison could reply, Turner's voice came over the ship's intercom. All senior officers, to the laboratory immediately. I've decoded the transmission. They hurried back to Turner's lab, where a crowd of officers and scientists had gathered around the main display. The screen showed symbols that looked like mathematical equations, mixed with artistic patterns. It's incredibly sophisticated, Turner explained. The message is encoded in quantum mathematics, but it includes cultural and philosophical concepts that I've never seen before. What does it say? Morrison asked. Turner pressed a control, and the alien symbols were replaced by English text. Greetings. To the young civilization that has recently achieved quantum communication technology, we are the ancients of Andromeda, the first species to achieve intergalactic awareness. If you are receiving this message, it means your people have developed sufficient technology and wisdom to be contacted. The room fell silent as Turner continued reading. We have been watching your galaxy for millions of years, waiting for a species to emerge that shows both technological capability and moral development. Your recent actions against the Zephyrian Empire have impressed us. A species that chooses rehabilitation over revenge, cooperation over conquest, shows the wisdom necessary for intergalactic contact. Morrison felt a chill of excitement. Humanity was being evaluated by beings that had been advanced when Earth was still covered in ice. There's more, Turner said. We extend an invitation to join the Intergalactic Council, an organization of advanced civilizations dedicated to preserving peace and knowledge across the universe. If you accept, we will share technology and wisdom that will advance your species by millions of years. Stone whistled softly. They're offering to make us part of a galactic government? Intergalactic, Blake corrected. This is bigger than just our galaxy. Turner held up his hand for silence. The message isn't finished. However, membership in the council comes with responsibilities. You would become protectors of younger civilizations, guardians of peace, and teachers of wisdom. The decision to accept this invitation will determine the future of not just your species, but every species in your galaxy. The laboratory was completely quiet as everyone absorbed the implications. Humanity had gone from being threatened with extinction to being invited to join the most advanced civilization in the universe. "What's our response deadline?" Morrison asked. Turner checked the display. "They're not pressuring us. The message says we can take as long as we need to decide. But once we respond, there's no going back. Accept, and humanity becomes part of something larger than we can imagine. Decline, and we continue developing on our own." Morrison looked around at the faces in the room. Humans and former enemies working together, united by the idea that cooperation was better than conquest. "Get me President Sullivan," she said. "This decision is too big for the military alone." As Turner activated the quantum communicator, Morrison thought about how much had changed in just 3 months. Humanity had faced extinction, and not only survived, but become leaders of a galactic alliance. Now they were being offered a chance to join something even greater. High Commander Vexthal had been right about one thing: humanity never learned when to quit. But he had been wrong about what that meant. It didn't make them dangerous conquerors. It made them protectors who would never stop fighting for what was right. Captain Sarah Ward appeared on one of the communication screens. She was now commanding the USS Pathfinder, humanity's first intergalactic exploration vessel. "Admiral," she reported, "we've detected similar transmissions being sent to civilizations in 17 other galaxies. We're not the only ones being invited to join this council." Morrison smiled. Of course the ancients wouldn't limit themselves to just one galaxy. An organization that had existed for millions of years would think on a scale that humans were just beginning to understand. "Sarah, how soon can Pathfinder be ready for an intergalactic mission?" "We could leave tomorrow if needed," Ward replied. "The ship's new drive systems can cross the gap to Andromeda in about 6 months. 6 months to travel 2.5 million light-years. Technology that had once seemed like magic was becoming humanity." President Sullivan's face appeared on the main screen, calling from a United Nations assembly that now included representatives